Are you struggling with Doom Tower, you beautiful project you? Well, by the end of this video, I'm going to have you fixed, patched up, sorted out, and get you rock and rolling all the way through early Doom Tower. Now, if you're struggling to crack it, the first boss you're going to find is our boy Bommal. He's not the last boss. We'll also be looking at Scarab King, Celestial Griffin. I'm going to cover the abilities, the passives, the general heroes just that you're going to want there, and some of the easy strategies to get them, especially here at the beginning of Doom Tower. Now, first and foremost, we're looking at Bommal the Dreadhorn. Now, Bommal hits very hard, especially as you go up levels, and he buffs his attack, and he throws out bombs. Now, when does he throw out bombs? Predominantly, this guy loves to throw out bombs when you buff your champs. So when you go into a fight like this is a champ or a hero you're fighting, enemy, boss, sorry, that you do not want to be bringing in lots of buffs against. This is a good boss to be A1ing or just strictly debuffing. Another thing with Bommal is you don't want to reduce his turn meter, because when you reduce Bommal's turn meter, this guy throws bombs or he speeds them up. Let's take a look at the passives together. Click the link below right now and get started on your amazing raid adventure. First passive here is going to be called Dread Minions. This is his buff. He self-buffs, and then he summons 2 Dread Bombs. And it's a passive here, and the increased attack buff can't be removed. You can't strip it as well, and then summons 1 Dread Bomb every time his turn meter is decreased. Next up, Ruinous Crush. Attacks all enemies, decreased bomb detonation. So you've got bombs on you, 2 turn duration. He hits you, 1 turn duration. He also activates HP burn. Magma Flood hits everybody, HP burn. And then enemies receive 100% more damage from HP burn from debuffs for each bomb debuff they're under. So let's say, which is crazy, let's say you're under 2 bomb debuffs. He does an AoE burn. You then take a turn, or your ally takes a turn. You're gonna be taking 200%. And Rain of Bombs, this is the one that's annoying. He's gonna lead with here. Removes all buffs from all enemies, then attacks them. Places a bomb debuff that detonates after 2 turns. Places 1 additional debuff for every buff strip. TLDR, he's going to put 2 bombs on you. If you have buffs, he's going to put more buffs, and you can't block this. You can't block, remove it, resist it. Anytime an enemy places any debuff on Bommal, places a bomb debuff on the enemy that detonates after 2 turns. So if you have like a Geomancer, which is a really nice comp as this goes on, he's going to place a debuff, he's going to get burned. These bomb debuffs can't be blocked or removed, and then has a chance of stunning. You see there's a bomb pattern here, and then these are just the standards, immune to stun and freeze. And then all turn meter effects are reduced by 50%. But we don't want to be turn meter reducing Bommal. We're going to do it anyway with Alice here if we use her A2, so we're going to be very, very careful. Now this is early Doom Tower. We have ally attack. We are going to have a revive here with Dawn Sabbatha, and we have an attack down champ. But we didn't hit our attack down. That does kind of suck. Very straightforward. A1ing, A1ing, A1ing. Now we have strengthen on Morag. We're not going to use strengthen because we don't want that turn meter to come around and have it stripped. And A1, A1, A1. You're going to look at this and say, this looks like overkill. It is. We've got 560s on the first floor of Doom Tower, but the mechanics are basically the same here. The bombs are not quite so scary now as they are going to be up some levels. Boom, boom, boom. All right, now we're going to have our reviver. This is why we have a reviver. Let's go ahead and nuke him in with Kale. Now Kale has a damage block here, and Alice will chop him down. But this is on the very first floor of Doom Tower, or the first boss floor, and it's not so much of a pushover. If we didn't have Alice, this would be such a drag. This is a composition as well where it's the buff strip that you're not really wanting to use a ton of buff ups, because yeah, it's just going to be counterproductive. So you need champs that are quite good either. It doesn't have to be an A1. They can be abilities, but they just have to be good without getting ultra buff. That's the quick and dirty on Bommal here. So yeah, champions that have super high resistance can give you okay results later, but not all the bombs are resistible. Somebody like Vogoth is going to be really good for passive healing. Somebody like Doom Priest as well, but this is the free to play on level 10. So don't worry about it on level 10. But in the future, somebody like Doom Priest Vogoth is great because he heals when the bombs explodes. Super fantastic. Scylla the Drakes is a champ actually I would like to try here, but I'm afraid she might actually land her decreased speed on the boss and then get a bomb. However, she is a good champ as far as healing your team up as things go along. Now, if you're looking here on the screen, you'd say, what is that beautiful bird? What is that beautiful bird on the screen? Well, that beautiful bird, my friends, is the Celestial Griffin. Celestial Griffin is a boss that has serious difficulties as things go up, and is a boss that, although soloable, and in fact is soloable by an apothecary, and I've done it on quite high levels in Celestial Griffin on normal, is real drag, because she is going to be stripping off buffs she's going to be exchanging debuffs. And you see the pattern here with Doom Tower. How Doom Tower functions, they don't really want you to just be able to easy mode, wipe it down, you know, mop the floor. Although you're going to see a 34-second time on this. Again, this is floor 30. I'm actually stuck on Doom Tower on Dark Fae, a few floors up from here. You'll see it, and it's going to be an easy wipe at this lower stage because currently we're just brute forcing them. But the mechanics at play, especially with Griffin, can screw you over. So let's see about taking a look at that. And what champs might we want to use? Well, the champions that we're going to be wanting to use for Griffin is somebody that brings attack down. So our boy Taragi the Frog is still going to get to stay in here. No problem. We really want to avoid turn meter reduction as well. And I'll show you. A1 attacks one enemy, 100% chance of placing fear. This is the transfer all debuff ability called Rock Smash. Names don't really matter. The general rule of thumb is the very first turn you take, do not buff. You can debuff, I guess, if you want. First turn, don't buff. He's going to go, and then you're going to go ahead and buff up like crazy. Some passives that matter for Griffin, though, is he scales. He attacks enemy whenever their HP drops below 50. That means he can double hit you. If he goes, drops somebody below 50, kapow! He's going to hit him again, and he's going to put heal reduction on them. Celestial Bond, Sky Bond, TLDR on Sky Bond. He gets buffed strength and stronger and stronger and stronger, and he does ignore shield, block damage, and unkill, but when he has 10 or more, kind of a problem. Now, by the way, real quick on this, the transfer debuff is resistible, and that's why some of the solo strats work. And this is just standard stuff. Turn meter effects are not as effective. And then whenever his turn meters decrease, this is why I said avoid turn meter reduction, the turn meters of all enemies will be decreased by the same amount, and they get stunned if it fully depletes the turn meter. So if you have somebody like a Cold Heart or a Soulbound Boyar or a Geomancer or somebody or a Lich, somebody that steals somebody's whole turn, yeah, you guys are gonna get big stunned. Now, I'm not actually going to bring Tagore in here because he doesn't actually do a lot for the comp. So he's going to be bringing speed up, which is cool, but he's bringing shield. He brings a lot of buffs, and I'm tired of getting those stripped. So I think that's going to be a little bit more problematic. In fact, Sabbatha is going to be our better option because she is going to provide consistent healing. She will allow us to buff, but whenever we want to be buffing. And of course, Alice is just a great champ. Alice is a legendary on the login, on free to play, and we're going to use Alice absolutely everywhere. And we're going to run through the waves here. Classic A1 on the waves. If you want to make sure all your abilities are up, that's Visix. We'll get Visix pretty soon on the main, actually. Okay, here we go. Griffin is going to remove all buffs from us, so we don't want to buff. Here's what we can do, though. We can ally attack. And this is what makes ally attack such a strong ability everywhere. No Morag Bronzelock is not like a goated Griffin or a Bommal or whatever champion, but bringing ally attack is so great. Chance of Brimstone, attack down, any other modifiers. We are going to throw our poisons out, and we're just going to hit. Griffin's going to take damage here. Not a ton. Now, we really don't want to debuff, but we can buff. And if we had a block debuffs, that would be great right now. We don't have it. That's okay. This is a low level boss on Doom Tower, and you are absolutely going to run through the boss if you bring a couple 60s. However, as this boss escalates, that's when it matters what we're talking about on the abilities. Like this, if you were to buff up on turn 1, which should be standard, right? You come into a PvE content, you're putting attack up, you're putting strength in, you're putting whatever's out there. She's going to strip them, and it cannot be resisted, and the damage increases by 10% for each buff removed. Easily 200% damage plus. Couple heroes with buffs. And now if we were to put a bunch of debuffs on and we were to have poured them on the following turn, then we'd be transferring all debuffs from Griffin to each enemy, and then fills Griffin's turn meter. So ability order matters. Shock, right? Because we just had poisons put on us. Now it was just some poisons basically, and maybe one attack down. That could have been problematic later on. But at some point, you do kind of have to tank it on your face and beat the boss. So if you've got something like a Doom Priest, pretty fantastic. Just anybody with a cleanse is a great play. Our next pickup here is Scarab King or Borgoth, not to be confused with Borgar, but if you were confused with Borgar, that would absolutely make sense. Now, how are we going to deal with Scarab King? Awkwardly, carefully, because this account does not have one of a couple that are somewhat accessible even. Somebody like Metal Shaper is amazing because Borgoth has a problem. If you attack him without a shield, he goes absolutely ham, and he places an extra hit if you've got buffs on one of his abilities as well, and he doesn't take much damage. He's just a real pain to deal with. Think of him as the cockroach of raid. Hard to deal with. Put this guy in a microwave, he's probably fine. Easy prey, counterattacks when attacked by an enemy that has no shield buff. Now, he also doesn't take much damage unless you destroy his max HP. So you can get around this very easily if you have an A1 destroy max HP or a 100% uptime shielder. Somebody like Miscreative Monster or Metal Shaper is also really good here. I don't have those options. So for us on this account, even Valerie, free to play, I think. On this account, we have a destroy set on Borgoth. That's what we have. It's not great. It's not good. He's not even a attack type champion. And we are pushing our resistance. In fact, we are going to be pushing resistance with Algorn Crimson Horn because at floor 20, the resistance check is quite low. We're looking at probably something like 120, 150. Not bad at all. The number on this one doesn't matter. You're not going to get stuck on 20. You're going to be able to run through 20 if you have anything with Destroy HP. As you go up further, and further, the resistance check starts to get quite a bit harder to get through, especially on a newer account, especially if you're looking at Doom Tower for the first or second time ever. So I'm not going to recommend that you try to out resistance the Scarab King. In fact, it might be disrespectful because he's a king. But what I am going to recommend is you take somebody in a really good destroy set, or you take somebody that has destroy as an ability. On my main account, for example, we do a lot with Stalk the Broken. Amazing fusion, such a cool champ, but his destroy max HP actually shreds Scarab King. Historically, people have used armorers in destroy sets. I don't know if that's really like a 2025 thing anymore. I would definitely more recommend you're looking at a champion that has some destroy max HP on an ability. This account right here is very, very limited that way. Now look at this buffs I've got on the champs right now. Do you notice we have shields? But I already said, I don't have champs that do great shields, huh? Remember? It's because we've got a bolster set. Bolster is fantastic for starting yourself off against Scarab. And in this instance with my comp, we're going to start off with block damage because we don't want the shields to just get run through, but he's still going to counter attack. We are not going to get stripped either because at low level floor, we have a resistance lead. Don't try to resistance lead it out for yourself as you go up on floors unless you feel so confident in your resistance builds. Here's what we're going to be doing. Here's what you're going to be doing. If you don't have a destroy HP champ, and I'm sorry because both of us don't, attacks one enemy, boom, we're going to hit him. We're going to tickle this guy and we are going to keep tickling and keep tickling and keep tickling. That's it. That's all we're going to be doing here. Now we can A1 it, we can auto it, whatever it is. I'm going to go ahead and A1 with Alice here because we have Brimstone, but if you don't have Brimstone, not a big deal. See how this bar goes down. We need this bar to get substantially further and then you're going to see those itty bitty tickly numbers on Borgoth, say like 1500, 1600. Those numbers are going to go up fast, but to go up fast, they have got to destroy this guy's HP. And we only have one champ in it. When I've cleared the higher levels on Scarab as well, I've cheesed 2 champions in like with an Armiger, but the gear sucks. My recommendation is if you only have one good set, put a bunch of champs out. They're going to throw a little bit of shield and just slow play it. You only have to beat him once. Example here, we're going to put an itty bitty shield buff on. It's not a big one. It's not a strong one, but it is a buff, and so we're not going to get counterattacked. And if you can get a drop attack on Scarab King as well, you are even going to keep your shields up that much longer. Because he doesn't hit super hard, but he doesn't hit not at all either. We hit like a wet noodle. He doesn't hit like a wet noodle. We're a little bit jealous. Okay, 17, 16. So it's the same percentage, but if you remember, he reduces damage by 90%. And if we can get it 10% destroyed, there's also a destroy bar up here. We are going to be doing tons more damage. In fact, we may have just done that. Maybe he just hit super hard. Let's see. Weak hit. What have we got, Alice? Now this is going to look different on different accounts for you guys, but the basic rule of thumb is drop his attack, put your shields on, and break his HP. Bust him down. Go through the door. And if you can on a low level, go ahead and resistance aura it out. Totally fine. Or block debuffs. Totally fine. Because that is possible with this guy as well. You can actually block the taunt. That's what normally would be coming up here. We just haven't seen much. And we've destroyed almost enough HP here that eventually we're going to be dunking through. Oh, we might have done it. Let's see. And we're stuck in a taunt loop. Okay, this is how it's going to go when you fight the boss. By the way, what do you guys think the most annoying debuff is? I think it probably is taunt because you're on full manual and you can't do anything. Good news is Borgoth is going to be hitting again and eventually get this destroyed. Let's come back at the end. And there we have it. Was it a job well done? Maybe. Was it a job slow done? Yes. Scarab King floor 20 is complete, all through destroying HP slowly and then letting whatever your DPS champ is go ham. It doesn't have to be Alice here. Alice tickled the boss for the longest time because the HP wasn't destroyed. Far more important to bring in better gearing on your destroy sets. And in fact, as the last thing, guys, if you're not sure where to get destroyed because nobody talks about it very much, which is fair, it doesn't have like a ton of utility or something, you're going to go out to the Deadlands here and you're going to be farming your destroy gear. And I would recommend, as per my previous video, farm it on Nightmare. If you need really good gear, farm it on Nightmare. But if you're okay with just so-so gear, farm speed boots, maybe leave the chest out because you might have a better set for the chest, and maybe some gloves for some crit rate gloves, and then, you know, 2 miscellaneous pieces here. And that is going to get you taken care of. Now that is Doom Tower with Bommal. That is Doom Tower with Scarab King, and that is Doom Tower with Griffin. And thanks for watching Dark Fate to Come.